Hey guys, I just wanted to really quickly give you some instructions here on this assignment. This is posted on Google Classroom. Well, you're hopefully looking at the assignment right now, but I want to just give you some verbal instructions on how to do this. So if you haven't already done so, watch the video and take the notes on inherited and acquired traits under heredity. That's the first thing you need to do. If you've done that, you know that inherited traits are traits you're born with in your DNA. Passed on from parent to child, and acquired traits are traits that you develop or learn during your lifetime. They're not passed on in your DNA. So for this assignment, the first thing you need to do on these lines here, you need to write down 5 inherited and 5 acquired traits. They need to be specific things that you can ask a yes or no question about. So for example, for your first one, you should not write hair color. Because if you ask, what's your hair color? That's not a yes or no question. Instead, you could put something specific. Like maybe I would write, do you have brown hair? Now that's a yes or no question. And then if you do that, I would like you to not do another hair color question. Don't do like, do you have brown hair? Do you have blonde hair? Do you have red hair? Do you have black hair? And use 4 of these lines for hair color. Just use 1 for a hair color. You can do something else about hair. You could say, do you have curly hair? Great, that's a completely different trait. And I would write that here. And then you could do things like, do you have freckles? Do you have naturally, or do your ears like attach at the bottom like mine do, or do they dangle? Those are all things you can ask for inherited traits. Acquired traits could be things like, do you have pierced ears? Have you ever dyed your hair? Things like that. So 5 of each written on these lines, 5 inherited, 5 acquired, things you can ask a yes or no question about. If you ask something like, are you tall? That's inherited. Be careful though, because you need to specify what is tall. Taller than 5 feet? Is that your metric? Maybe you compare with them and say, hey, are you taller than me? And you line up back to back. Something like that. Make sure if you ask if you're tall or something, or your foot size, have a specific thing of what's big, what's small. Now, after you've filled out 5 of each, 5 inherited, 5 acquired for 10 traits, then you will write down somebody's name. Like maybe I interviewed Jason. I would write down his name there. And then as I ask him questions, I would put a check mark. Oh, do you have brown hair? You do? Great. I'm going to put a check mark or an X for a yes. Do you have curly hair? No? Okay, I'm going to leave it blank. And you'll ask him all 10 questions. Then you'll ask the next person you interview. Write their name down and ask them the 10 questions. Do you have these traits? And just yes or no. After you've done that with 10 people, and this could be family members, could be friends, classmates, people on the street for all I care. Once you've interviewed 10 people, you need to make sure you answer these questions at the bottom. And this can be turned in a couple ways. You can either take a picture of it and submit it through Google Classroom. That's great. Or you can bring it into me when you return, and I can grade it then. Okay, good luck with that. And if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving break.